What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. Okay, so we have some news that this is really, really promising. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a clip. We're going to talk about it as we're watching it. But Stephen Mnuchin was interviewed earlier today on CNBC, and I don't know if he meant to say this, but he actually said something that leads me to believe that a deal has been reached. Okay, now this is pure speculation on my part. But he did say something. We can follow up on it today because he said that they will meet later today and talk about this and then announce something. So I'm going to play the clip and then we'll go from there. First off, if you guys can do me a favor, please hit that like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. We do daily videos and live streams on the weekends. And also make sure you hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we post a video. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this video.
Is what's going to happen in terms of another financial aid package. We've got millions of Americans who are out of work. We've got businesses small and large that are in crisis at this point through no fault of their own. Will we see another financial package to aid them before Election Day?
Well, the president and I are working hard on a bipartisan proposal. I spoke to Speaker Pelosi several times over the weekend. We had a conversation for about an hour yesterday, going through different aspects of it, and I expect I will come back with her later this afternoon and we'll deliver a response. So I think we'll have a very reasonable response, something that's very similar to what has been the bipartisan proposal that the Problem Solvers has worked on, and I hope we can get something done because, as you said, there are clearly still businesses out there, small businesses that are impacted. We need more money for kids going to school. We need liability protection for small businesses to open the economy. And we're going to continue to work hard to try to get those results to the American people that are impacted.
All right. So I hope you caught that. But he said that he's going to come back with Nancy Pelosi later today and they'll have a response. This is the first time that we're hearing that they're going to be coming together. And this is the first time that we'll see them come together. So obviously, that leads me to believe, and hopefully you to believe, that they've reached a deal, and now they're going to come together and let the American people know what that deal is, and then they're going to have to get Mitch McConnell on board, and then hopefully get it through the Senate. So this is really, really good news, and let's go ahead and continue.
Mr. Secretary, you're usually pretty even-keeled, and you are probably the person most in the administration who has reached across the aisle to try and have these conversations. Although I have gotten the sense lately that you've been a little frustrated, too. I just wonder, in those conversations with Speaker Pelosi, is it more or less contentious than the debate we saw last night?
Well, the Speaker and I have a relationship which it's all business. I think we're very effective in communicating with each other. In many cases, we do have things that we agree on, and we have things that there are differences. And we're trying to see if both of us can manage a package that gets some of what everybody wants.
So he completely did not want to go into that whole thing about the debate last night. If you guys missed the debate last night, I did a live stream, a watch party, so you can check that out. I'll post a link here. But yeah, he didn't want to get into that whole situation. But like I said, it looks like something we'll be learning more today about this stimulus package.
Do you think that's likely? Because I have to say, at this point on Wall Street, most people have written off the idea that there will be any package that can be decided, at least not before the election.
Well, I say we're going to give it one more serious try to get this done, and I think we're hopeful that we can get something done. I think there's a reasonable compromise here. It's something that the president very much wants to get done and make sure that we help those parts of the economy that still need help. So we're going to try to see if we can get something passed.
And there again, he mentions, I think there's a reasonable compromise. Now, he's talking about getting it passed. So the first hurdle is to negotiate and get on the same page when it comes to a stimulus package. And so the White House, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they wanted to get on that same page. And then once they've done that, then it has to get passed through the legislature. So it needs to get passed through the House and get passed through the Senate. So that will be the next step. But it does sound like there's something that they've reached some type of an agreement. Let's go ahead and continue.
Even if you do reach an agreement with Speaker Pelosi, you still have the Republicans in the Senate who have been pushing back, and who the demands that they've put forth, the things that they'd like to see, is a much skinnier package than I think the administration and the White House has kind of put forth. They're looking to spend less than $900 billion. How would you bring those Senate Republicans on board, and have you spoken to any of them?
Mark Meadows and I spoke to both Kevin and Mitch McConnell yesterday. We went through with them what our thoughts are, and let's see if we can get a compromise agreement with the speaker, something that works, and then we'll continue to work with both sides to work on all the exact language and the policies.
Can you give us any idea of the scope of what is there in the middle ground? I mean, I think I can guess at some of these things. What's targeted, what seems to have bipartisan support, and I would throw out things like extending unemployment to some extent and raising that number, maybe extending some money for small businesses, potentially the airlines, making sure that this is targeted information. But can you give us any scope about the things that you've been discussing that you think are likely and that there is common ground?
Well, first, let me say all the issues that we worked with the Senate on the $1 trillion deal are in there. In many cases, we actually have an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats on what we want to do. But in certain cases, the issue is really about the size and scope of how much we want to do. So there are certain policies where we do have differences, but there's a lot of commonality. Things like the PPP has enormous bipartisan support. Money for schools has enormous bipartisan support. We have additional direct payments, economic impact payments, which has support on both sides. We have back to work credits. We have retention credits. So I think there's many areas. You mentioned the airlines. We do support more money for the airlines. That's something that's critical to keep our airline workers together.
All right. So that was the end of the interview there. And like I said, I mean, the way that I'm looking at this, if they are going to meet later on today, and we'll have to see what happens later on today. But if they're meeting later on today, it does sound like they have reached some type of an agreement, and we just need to move forward. And they're going to have to move forward very, very fast because we have deadlines that are approaching at the end of the month. We already know, like, we're at the end of the month already, so we already know going into October the airline industry is going to be struggling. So they're definitely going to have to get something on the table. Let us know today, hopefully, and then move forward with voting on these proposals. And plus, you know that the Congress will be going on recess this week, so something should be getting done this week, hopefully. If not, then they're going to have to call them back. But they've already warned them of that. You could potentially have to get called back for a vote. But this is really, I mean, we're seeing things. This is the last ditch effort, and Stephen Mnuchin even mentioned it himself. This is our last opportunity, and I think they've realized, hey, we need to do something. We can't just do nothing, and so. Hopefully, and he also talked about time and scope. So a lot of the stuff they agree on, they just don't know how long they can allow for it to happen. And then the scope, how many people will be involved when it comes to getting certain like if it's direct payments, how many people do we allow? We already know kind of what their scale is when it comes to direct payments because they've talked about it in the past, so that really hasn't changed. But when it comes to some of the other things, the enhanced unemployment, things like that, who will qualify, how much will they get, how long will they get it for? Really, really good news. I wanted to hear, I was listening for what is going to come from the White House. I mentioned that a couple of days ago, and we've heard from the White House, and it sounds like the information that we're getting is pretty good. And you saw that Stephen Mnuchin talked with Mitch McConnell and he talked with Mark Meadows. So they've probably all sat down. I mean, they didn't sit down together. It looks like Stephen Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi are the ones negotiating. And then Stephen Mnuchin is reporting this information to Mark Meadows and Mitch McConnell. So we're going to have to go with this. We can follow up today to see what happens today. If anything comes down today, then I'll make sure that I let you guys know. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And also, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that this is going to happen? Let me know down below. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.